All right, and we're sort of back. uh, everything is looking good back on my system except for a new problem, which is Homestead's not coming up. So this may be an issue. I'm not sure. Well, I know it'll be an issue if I can't get Homestead back up. I'm going to start by killing this out. Yeah, okay, so I can't get into Homestead, right? Let me just make sure it's actually down, because maybe that's part of the issue. Nope, it's definitely dead. Ah, the benefits of live coding. All right, so that is definitely Control C. Let's kill that out. All right. What can I do? First, bring up Firefox here. And okay, it's definitely not loading any pages locally. I was just trying to go to my own local machine for a minute just to see if there was any issue there. All right, so then we'll go back to register, so it's not going to find this. That's fine. I'm going to make sure it's just not running right now, and if I need to just bring it down completely and just destroy the box, I will. I don't think I lose any data. I mean, it's a Homestead box. It's meant to be destroyed. So if I got to do that, I will. The only problem is I don't remember how to do that. I know it's like box destroy or something like that. Vagrant box destroy. All right, yeah, that's what we're gonna just do right now. So home. Oh yeah, I think this is this is a weird issue. Part of this is definitely because of OBS, which is fine. All right, let me just go destroy this. So that's, I'm in release, so I can just say vagrant box destroy. That should take it down if I spelled destroy right. Okay, so it's Vagrant. Box list. Let's see what the list is. What's it saying we got in there? Okay, seeing it. All right, that's good. Forcing the shutdown of the VM. Yes. Okay, so it shut it down. All right. All right, so we've got Vagrant daily usage. I gotta go back to the docs and look this up because I don't totally remember all this stuff. How to like destroy it and bring it back up and all that crap. So I've already got the boxes on there, so I should just be able to say, no, not per site, site type, environment, yada yada yada, yeah, created wildcard SSL. Multiple versions of PHP, mail, debugging. I passed it. Provider set. Okay, that all stuff is all set. Destroy Vagrant destroy force. Okay. Just blow it out of the water. If you're new to development and you're like, didn't he say he was going to be doing some other stuff today instead of this? The best I could say is shit happens. Sometimes as a developer, sometimes things go wrong and you just roll with it. So looks like something's up with Homestead right now. Not exactly sure what, but Homestead is, you should treat it kind of like it's ephemeral so that it can just go away and it doesn't matter. So I'm just going to destroy it. And then I'm going to re-up the whole thing, and theoretically it should be okay at that point. So I say theoretically because I don't know. We'll find out. So, all right, that's not where I want to go. Per project launching. All right, so that's been destroyed. Now I should be able to just do vagrant box add. I think that's how you do it. Let me double check this stuff. First steps. Launch it. There we go. Daily usage. Maybe this is where that stuff is. Yes. Homestead. Okay, great. Connecting to SSH. You didn't even tell me how to. VirtualBox. There we go. Vagrant, yada yada yada. Okay, there. Optional software included. Great. First steps. Got Vagrant work. Okay. That's the line I needed. Vagrant box add, Laravel Homestead. So now that should grab. I already have two of them, so I think theoretically I should just be able to I don't know if destroy might actually get rid of those. So in which case it'll have to just download. Yeah, which one are you using? 3 VirtualBox. Okay, it's already there, so I shouldn't have to add the box. Great. So now I can go should just be able to say homestead up provision? I don't think so. Homestead provision, let's just do. Homestead provision and homestead up dash dash provision essentially do the same. Well, it's VM not created. Moving on. Okay. Vagrant. Which is the twin. All right, so I'm gonna have to just do vagrant box add force. This will just force it to read yes. So we go back to 3, VirtualBox, adding. It'll download and do everything with it. Nothing like watching a download screen for your. Now I know how Windows developers feel. All right, let's put that up there. Make sure I'm doing everything. Configure Nginx. Nginx should already be. Everything else is working. Like I don't need to change any of this stuff. So all I should be able to just say now is yeah. Theoretically, once this loads, I'll just be able to provision it, set it up, and be on my way. If this doesn't work, I'm going to just put my head through this second monitor over here and call it a day. All right, so VirtualBox, okay, that's good there. Nope, there we go, doing something. Successfully added, great. Well, yeah, so now it should just be instead up. This should just bring it up and provision everything out of the homestead.yaml file. There we go. Oh god. Okay, so while this is working, let's just at least look at something else. I'm just gonna pop this over to my other screen, and then let's see, what else should I do here? I'll bring this back here real quick. That it's going to try to connect to in a moment. Oh, wait, there we go. Checking if it's up to date. There we go. Okay, that's looking good. Booting. This is, I mean, honestly, even though it's kind of somewhat annoying that this happened, I'm not 100% sure even what happened. It's just, I think I was trying to do something before, and in Homestead itself, and I like Control C to break it, to stop it from doing whatever it was doing, and I think at that moment in time I did something where I corrupted it. I don't know what happened. So as annoying as it is, this is the nice part about using a VM. I guess Docker is the same way. I don't really use Docker, so I'm not sure. But the nice thing about this is that it's just like, all right, crap, something went wrong. Instead of having to sit there, I tried two things at first. I tried bringing it down, reprovisioning it. That didn't work. I tried to SSH into it just to see if I can get into the system. Tried the old start, stop. Didn't do anything. So, okay, that's enough of this. And I just blew it out and started all over again. Yeah, see, here's a connection reset. Huh. What is going on in there? Anyway, assuming this works, it's just kind of nice to be able to just say, all right, I don't know what the issue is, and I don't have to kind of really figure it out too much. I can just say, all right, I'm going to just blow out Homestead, put it all back in again, and and reuse it. The annoying part is, well, if you get errors like this, then you're gonna have to figure out what the hell it is, or you just have to bring up your old data. So I'm gonna have to, once I get into this now, this blew out the database for Rebase, which didn't really have much in there. So the only thing now I have to do is just go back into the database, reseed it, or run the migrations and reseed it. So, and I'll have to do this with a couple other websites that I have running locally on my computer, which not that big of a deal. It's kind of nice to do this every now and then too, just to make sure that you're developing stuff in a way where you don't you're not forgetting something. I've done it before in the past where like you've started to kind of work on a website, or you kind of forget the steps that you did to make something like live on your machine. Like maybe you had to do something funky with like DNS settings, or you forgot some sort of like environment variables or something. So sometimes when you bring things down and then bring it back up again like this, and like you have to like go through the whole process, you're like, oh crap, I didn't realize I forgot that these migrations had to be run separately for some reason or whatever. So it's just kind of a nice like reminder of the things that you got to do in the system. It's also pretty freaking annoying when it happens, but this saves me. It's annoying, but it's relatively innocuous. So if you're working at a company or somewhere and you're thinking about using, like, should I use a VM? This is the reason why you would want to. You can just say, forget it. I don't care why my system's not working. I'm just going to blow out the stuff and redo it. I've actually had in the past too, like just upgrading from Mac OS to Mac OS, like, whichever version, where all of a sudden they move like a MySQL file or something like that. I remember that a lot in the olden days, where all of a sudden it felt like every time you updated your Mac, they moved the mysql.sock file to some other location, and you had to first figure out where the hell it was before you can like point it to it and get everything working. So if you updated everything on day one, you might have this issue where you're like, I don't know where this sock file is, and I can't get this thing working for some reason. So it's just nice to not, or like, they'd have the wrong version of PHP or whatever. So it's just nice to not have those issues for the most part. I can just kind of say, I can update my OS, I can do all of this other stuff, whatever the hell that happens to be, and then I can just say, and I can just have Homestead running, and then if Homestead changes for some reason, I just have these issues. But come on. We're almost there. I think. I hope. Jesus, it's taking a little bit. But again, as a programmer, this crap happens. You'll walk into work one day. I've had it even happen at companies where you go into work one day and you open up your computer, and because it's networked, you plugged into their network. They're like, "Oh, hey, we're sending you all these updates," and then you got to wait for your machine to update. So you're like, "Okay, I got to get in. I got to do these 5 things," and then you're like, "Okay, you're gonna have to wait 45 minutes before I can do those 5 things while my machine updates." So I've had that one happen before. I've had ones happen in the past where it's just like, the machine dies for whatever reason, and then you're just waiting for it. You're gonna have to wait for like the IT department to come in and fix it. I actually once had my machine. It was brand new, relatively. Yeah, it was brand new. And next thing I know, thankfully I was at the company, so the company was in California, and I happened to be there when all of a sudden the side of it smoked a little, and that was it. Never turned back on again. It was a relatively new at the time MacBook. I think it was just a MacBook, not a MacBook Pro. Just smoked, and that was the end of it. And I was like, okay, I don't know what happened. And it just dead. So, any work I wanted to do that day, I was in a meeting and I was like, yeah, it's not turning on anymore. Okay. So they're computers. Things happen. The amazing part is why is this taking this long? Is something going on with I think my encoder is messing something up. I'm gonna have to figure this out with the so I think basically, yeah, I'm using about 30% of my CPU just for OBS. So that's probably part of the problem here. All right, is it running now? Let's see. There we go. Advanced. Accept the risk and continue. It's just locally. It's like, hey, I don't know what the hell this thing is. Oh, that ain't gonna work anyway. I'm gonna have to go in and SSH in. So, all right, let's SSH into this thing. Yeah, what it's doing right now is it's failing because it's like it can't find the databases or anything at this moment in time. So I can just get that fixed, provided I can get into the system. All right, let's stop this guy from going. Ooh, maybe, maybe not. It's another question. How much RAM am I giving this thing? I could have sworn I was giving this... Let's pop this open real quick. Let's just look at our Homestead YAML file. I thought I gave it 4 gigs of RAM. Hey, okay, well this is up. I'll do that in a second. So, sites. Projects rebase, PHP artisan, db migrate. So this db migrate command I think is one of mine as opposed to just using the migrate command. db migrate for me will, I could tell it to either use like to migrate a shared workspace or like the shared side of things or the workspaces themselves. So by just saying artisan migrate, it's just going to try to migrate the shared, or I guess what you would call in a multi-tenant system, the landlord database stuff. There we go. So there we go. Now I can say PHP artisan seed. I don't remember if I have a seed command or if I just run db or if I just run seed. We'll figure that out in a moment. Let's look at the YAML file real quick just to make sure that I am actually giving it like not like 32 megs. Okay, no. So yeah, 4 gigs of RAM, 2 CPUs. It should be handling that okay, but something is. Okay, and it ran the band slug seeder, so we're good to go on that side of things. Now if I go back here and I refresh, this should, it might kick back this error. But at least we should theoretically be back to where we were a few minutes ago, or like an hour ago when I started this whole damn thing. Just in case it's not doing that, I'll accept the risk. Three seconds to run that. Yesterday that was taking milliseconds because it's not like it's not a thing. There's nothing in that file basically. It's like all right, let's close this one out. All right, well, it brought it back up. That's definitely good. All right, pop this back into code real quick. Man, that was kind of a nightmare. It's still not good. It's definitely doing something bad here. I'm assuming this has got to be related to the encoder. Got a good bitrate going up to all my stuff, but something is just, this is just not happy with something in here. All right, make sure it's not showing a price. Okay, good. My env files. All right, so, geez, what the hell was I? That's the other problem with things like this. When stuff like this happens, sometimes you're like, okay, what was I doing? Where am I now? Okay, so we got our products in here. low, medium, and high price points test. This is the plan. So all right, I've set up all the routes I think I needed. So I have the processing of the slug, the registration, payment. So for now that looks okay-ish. All right, let's see. Process the payment. Kick back in. Okay, good. All right. Oh, the system is overloaded again. No. Okay, no, it's good now. All right. Okay, God, where was I? Let's open up the other project I needed to pull out some data from, which is site. Holy cow, come on. I'm gonna have to definitely get this straight for next week. I don't like this. Again, the weird part is it was fine yesterday. Even looks like now my bitrate is fine going up there, but something is not, it's not happy with this setup. So, all right. If it starts dropping again, I'm going to have to just call it a day. All right, so in the payment area, so let's try to get through this and see what happens. The first thing I really want to do is now, all right, there's a couple things you would have to do if you had multiple plans, right? So in this case, in the first case here, we've set up the intent to pay, but we haven't actually done anything yet. So you have to, once you're back into this route, into the processing of the payment, you actually now have to tell it like, okay, we're going to set up a new subscription. We're going to tell it the plan. We're going to give it the pricing and all that stuff. And then we're going to let Stripe and Cashier handle doing that stuff. And then it's going to, at that point, I think, kick back to us saying, hey, we're ready to go. So realistically, it's, I think, a couple of different things that have to happen here. So one is set your payment plan. Two is set up your new subscription. Three is what? After we're done with that, you know, after, you know, basically send out, wait for the data to come back. The data is going to come back, which is set up your new subscription. That's what happens in that thing. And then, you know, I think I'm going to do this through an event. So we'll probably have send out a completed payment event. And at that point, that's, you know, when trigger the build of the account. And then step 5 is user thanks. And then 6 is all right. So I think that seems about right. Yeah. Set your payment plan. Set up your new subscription, which is this line essentially right here. Send out the complete payment event, which would trigger the build process of creating the new database and saving the data to the shared database, spinning up a new database, saving the information that needs to be saved there. While that's happening, we're going to basically just send back to a success page to say thanks. You'll be hearing from us in a few minutes when we set up your email. When check your email. Then once the build process is done, we send out the email that says, okay, you're ready to go now. Then they log in, and once they log in, that's the first screen they get is going to be, okay, hey, cool, thanks for doing this. Please give us your password. So I guess that first step is sending them a token that allows them to log in. They log in, that one-time login. They log in, they enter a password, then they can go through the system. So that entering the password is going to be kind of it's going to do several things for us. One, it verifies that their email address is real. So they're a real person, but I think anybody kind of paying for the system is going to be real. But needless to say, we make sure that they're real, make sure their email address is real. They finish paying, setting up the system, and then we can do whatever else we need to do after that point. So that is, I think, everything that we want to do in this whole thing. All right. Let's see what okay, well, a few more minutes here. It's already, I think, 4:45. Yeah. Okay. So that sucks because we just lost a lot of time to other stuff, but these things happen. So let's just see about setting up the new subscription. So the new subscriber is coming from an account, which I don't have an account at this moment in time. So I'm just gonna new up an account. So new account. If I can spell it all. And account is actually why is that not working? Import class is a model. So I'm pulling it from my model saying, okay, give us a new account because it has the new subscription stuff on this. So normally with Cashier, it uses user as your billable model, but in this case, I've changed it to be account. So new up that, new subscription, send that over as okay, so we have pricing, we have the test plan ID, and the payment. So the payment one is what, I think, for this guy. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the name. Plan.product. Yeah, so then we get the ID for whichever one that they wanted to do. So just for right now, I'm going to say sing.product dot plan. Let's see this again real quick. Pricing. Oh, so I want product test and then whichever ID I want to use. So product load.id. So essentially what's going to happen at some point is that test.load.whatever is going to have to come in from the request. Probably the same for this, so that way you'd pick whatever plan it is, and then it's just saving that. But for now, we just grab the plan ID, the product ID, and I think that is going to be it for that. And then once I got that information, yeah, now we can just, I probably should send some information over there too, right? So I think it's, hold on. And then this is an array of stuff that we send over to it. So in this case, it's name, request, put name, email is. I've done no verification on this stuff, which is definitely not good. So let's also set up a validator real quick on here. Validator make, which is the one I used in the processing of the slug. Oh, okay, I can just say request validate. Not the slug, obviously. Well, actually, no. You know what? On the off chance that you got here somehow and you didn't have a slug in there, I'm going to keep this in there because I want to make sure that we check again that, hey, it's still unique. Because if somebody's sitting on this page for like 3 days for some random reason, I don't know why, or even 10 minutes, there's theoretically a race condition where if 2 people were trying to register the same slug, one person could be faster than the other. I'll check again. So we check here. Import this class. All right, so we're going to check the slug. What else do we need to check? The name. Required. Email is going to be required. Email, I think, is what that thing is. This should just be a string also. Oops. All right, so we're going to validate slug name and email address at this point in time so that we have those things, so I can then do the rest of the stuff. Everything else is going to be coming from Stripe. So yeah, if you don't pay, if you haven't set up your payment stuff, that button, I'll probably just make it so it doesn't even work. So if you don't set up your payment information, you can't even hit the pay button. Once you've completed your pay button, like you press the pay button, Stripe kind of takes care of a bunch of things and then it comes back to me. So this is the only stuff I think I need to manage to make sure that it's correct. Let's see. So once we get that information back, now we can go and we can try to do the subscription. We subscribe the new user to the system, and then what? And then I think we need to, well, that should be it, because that's going to do all this stuff. So at this point, we would probably just set the event. I don't have an event yet, but we would just say event, some sort of new payment processed correctly event, let's say. And in this case, we'd send over the account slug, the name, email address. So that gives us name, account, slug, email address. Yep, that gives us all the stuff that I want right there. So that would be probably a good spot to just say, okay, well, so we got that. Then what? Now we just redirect back to like a thank you page of some sort. So again, this is just the happy path at this moment in time. Like I haven't done anything like what happens if this returns incorrectly. Oh, no, we don't want to inertia render it. We want to redirect, route. We're going to redirect to some sort of like redirect success and probably have some sort of message with okay. So happy path wise, that's pretty much it. We're going to validate all the data, make sure it's good. We'll create a new account, send over the subscription information, assuming everything comes back correctly. I mean, this does nothing else other than just assume everything comes back correctly. We get that info back. We process. We say, hey, everything's been processed correctly. After that, that's so inside of there. Well, then we redirect, and then inside the payment processed correctly, that's where we're going to trigger all of the build processes to actually spin up the new database, save all of the information, and that's it. So while the user is reading this page, this event is ongoing. We can just do whatever we need to do. So they can just close that page out, leave. They'll eventually get an email that says, so once this is done, whatever happens inside here, we'll probably have to set out a new event that's like account created correctly or account created incorrectly. Maybe there'll also need to be a payment. There'll probably need to be some sort of like payment failed event that'll go off in here too. So probably what's really going to happen here is that this will be in some sort of try catch, and it'll catch a failed payment, in which case we redirect them back to the other page and we say, sorry, your credit card isn't working or something like that. Because I don't want to spin up a new site, a new database, because it's a multi-tenant, multi-database site. Every time we spin up something, like spinning up is not just saving data, it's literally creating a new group of, a new database and all the new tables and migrating and doing all that stuff that needs to happen. So I don't want to do that until I know that they've paid and everything is good. Just because that's harder to clean up later on. All right, so it's already 5 o'clock because we got sidetracked with the homestead stuff. So I'm gonna call it here today. Next week we'll just keep on rolling with this stuff. Hopefully I'm gonna have to try to figure out what the hell is wrong with OBS, so that way it doesn't do that again, because that sucked. So thank you everyone. Have a good one.